Hey there. Today I'd like to put out a little bit of a conversation or start a conversation about gratitude. Gratitude for me is one of those tricky topics of conversation. I think gratitude is a topic that can be weaponized pretty aggressively against others and ourselves, and yet at the same time, it's one of those core foundational technologies that just works no matter what we are doing and no matter how we are feeling. Gratitude, I guess I'll talk about first the aspects of gratitude which I believe are super positive, and then hopefully work our way over to some of the ways that I've seen it weaponized in a way that doesn't feel in keeping with the technology itself. So, um, first and foremost, the way that gratitude can work is very specifically a kind of it feels like a ladder, right? It feels like a ladder we can use to climb our way out of situations that are largely negative. This is not to say that it can be used as a panacea, right? Holding gratitude does not make everything better, but it does make our body and mind's perception of what's happening better, which is to say, there is generally, as long as we're alive, something to be grateful for. So I always tend to start my day and finish my day with the idea of gratitude for my breath. If I do have uh, the access to the rest of my body, then I tend to try to radiate gratitude for everything that I can think of to feel grateful for. This is going to do a really great job of, in general, putting us, neurologically speaking, in a better state of mind than we were before we started the struggle, um, or started struggling with what we're getting into. Um, to me, this is just a technology, right? It's not a concept, it's not an idea, it's not anything other than if I feel grateful and I believe it, right? I'm not lying to myself, though, even just like faking smiling will literally release positive chemicals in our body, which will get us up a couple rungs in the ladder of our state of mind. Gratitude is very similar, right? We can lie about the gratitude, and at first we might need to lie about the gratitude. If our synaptic responses are grooved around negativity or shame and guilt and hate and fear and doubt, gratitude will be that kind of first on ramp into and toward positivity. That's going to do a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of the gross motor stuff for us of getting us into a better state of mind, better mindset. The ways that we can engage with gratitude beyond that are, I think, largely about changing our relationship to things. On our website, we are talking about gratitude as an aspect of community, as an aspect of healing relationship. And as I've talked about a number of times, all other relationships radiate out from our relationship to ourself. And so beginning our relationship to gratitude with our relationship to ourself is really helpful. So once we're cycling gratitude for ourselves, for our own existences, for the things we have to feel grateful for, we then find that gratitude can serve as this amazing kind of solidarity machine, where I'm sharing what I'm grateful for and someone else is sharing what they're grateful for, or I'm grateful for someone else and they're grateful for me. That becomes this similar sort of technological ladder that we're using together as a relationship. Let's just use the two people metaphor. If I'm pinging gratitude off of you and you're pinging gratitude off of me, right? We're kind of just like vaulting our way up the scales, vaulting our way up from a brain chemistry standpoint, right? We are social animals, and as a result, it is our relationship to each other that really can kind of take some of this stuff and take it to the next level. So in individual relationships, it's going to really, really change the game. And then in group relationships, I believe gratitude is, and sharing gratitude as a collective is really one of those amazing opportunities. And every time you see a group of people sharing what they're grateful for together and with one another, we see that the dynamic overall as the group really shifts as long as everybody's acting from good faith. As long as everybody's showing up and sharing what they're actually grateful for, sharing gratitude from a place of sincerity. It really builds this sense of solidarity over time. And it also gives us kind of the beginning building blocks of building safe, consensual, trusting relationships. I'm going to talk a little bit about trust and the importance of trust later on. But for me, trust is kind of built on this idea of understanding the motivations and intentionality around the other person and other people and the way that we're all relating to the situation. And so for me, this idea of gratitude and sharing gratitude and starting from gratitude and moving from gratitude and moving with gratitude really sets us all on a shared trajectory. And that for me, also includes connecting with and about how people are actually feeling, right? Everybody might not have the same level of positive, affirmational sort of feelings about the situation, about what we're moving through, about what's happening, about what's moving in their lives. And I think for me, that really gives us all an opportunity as groups and as relationships to slow way down, right? As opposed to trying to like rush through to the reframing aspects. It allows us to slow down and honor what's moving in each other's lives, right? We can be grateful for the challenges that we're facing, and at the same time still need to take time to honor them, still need to take time to presence them and to have them be witnessed and honored by others. And that, for me, again, is just another opportunity for us to come back to using gratitude as a technology for stepping through the gateways together, so to speak. One of the ways that I have, I'll kind of shift gears. One of the ways that I've seen gratitude kind of weaponized is around this idea of like toxic positivity. And this exists in a really interesting sort of way. I think it couples itself really powerfully to, white supremacist frameworks of understanding the world, which is to say that we can use gratitude as like a bludgeon for saying like, oh, it doesn't sound like, you're being grateful enough today. When in reality, we're maybe using gratitude as a policing mechanism or a policing tool to say like, oh, why aren't you focusing on gratitude? And this idea of toxic positivity, I feel like for me very specifically, is tied up in a framework of overuse of cognitive reframing tools, right? Cognitive reframing is a really important aspect of everybody's lives. The idea of taking something that feels, kind of initially very negative and being able to reframe the negative as a positive. And that can just be a very basic technological, kind of emotional technology that works on its own, that we don't have to put a value judgment on. But there's a way of kind of weaponizing and using toxic positivity against ourselves and against each other around like, oh, I'm not allowed to feel bad things, right? I'm not allowed to feel my negative feeling sets. And that, for me, is really where we start to get into these kind of toxic uses of things like gratitude. Sometimes it's really important to get checked by our friends and say like, hey, are you checking in gratitude right now? Because it sounds like you're maybe sticking with a negative pattern of behavior or a negative pattern of thought. Maybe because the suffering feels more, kind of familiar, more comforting than actually making the changes in your life that we want to make, or making the, kind of the shifts that are required in our, not just our mindset, but our logistical, like day-to-day existences that would really change things. And so, we tend to overlook that suffering is very familiar for most of us. The idea of not suffering anymore one day really feels insurmountable to most people, I think. And so for me, the way that we're engaging with gratitude is never meant to be used as like a bludgeon for somebody else. It's never meant to be used as a weapon to legitimize somebody's feelings. And the way that we can engage with gratitude in our own lives is kind of a personal prerogative. And as people who work, whether we're counselors or coaches or just friends or family members, all of that stuff, making sure that we're not weaponizing gratitude against people to, try to essentially trick them into not feeling stuff that might be uncomfortable for us to just sit in the discomfort of. There are a lot of feelings that are floating around in the world around us today that are really uncomfortable, and they require us to be grateful for the discomfort just as much as we're grateful for the positivity of the world. And for me, that requires us to really slow down. It requires us to have a kind of a non-dualistic viewpoint on things, where I don't prefer comfort to discomfort. I'm just going to sit with what is and spend the time embracing it. And I know for me, that's a constant dance. That's a constant dance. Getting to gratitude is something that takes time for all of us. And getting to gratitude, being able to harness gratitude for our ascent, or movement toward where we're going with relationships to, let's just say, goals or whatever, is just as important as getting to gratitude about the descent. Getting to gratitude about, releasing my attachment to my body, releasing my attachment to relationships that are leaving, releasing attachment to all of this, to everything. And, a lot of people, I think, tend to think spirituality should just always feel good. They think healing should just always feel good. They think everything should be about increasing comfort. But in reality, gratitude is an amazing tool that can be used well, and in a lot of instances really helps us connect through our relationships, through our solidarity networks, through our relationship to ourselves, to what is real, in a way that allows us to just kind of be with it rather than to seek to change it into something positive quickly. And, it makes it a very challenging tool, but I think everybody who explores their relationship with gratitude over time really finds that their life changes very quickly and longitudinally, right? We can notice an instantaneous change, and we can also notice this kind of slow relationship shift to everything around us. And so while gratitude is one of those really complex and cool technologies in our lives, it's important that we use it in a way that is always honoring of what's real and allows us all to connect together with what is real. And I really want to take this opportunity, talking about gratitude, to say a little different what I always try to say at the end of these videos, which is thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for walking down this rabbit hole with me. Thank you for being you. Thank you for engaging in your journey. Thank you for engaging in your struggle. Thank you for relating to gratitude in your own life. And I have a lot of gratitude for you. I have a lot of gratitude for this moment, this opportunity to be alive as long as it continues to last. And I'll take a special moment, I guess. Very grateful for this technology. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to reach people in their lives. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to connect across time and space in this very fleeting human existence. And so, thanks again. Have a beautiful day. Many blessings to you all. See you next time.